Hey everybody, it's Matt from the Port Orchard Chamber of Commerce, and I'd like to welcome you to the Chamber's 2020 primary candidate interviews. For these interviews, we've selected three different races, the two races in the 26th Legislative District and District 2, the Kitsap County Commissioner's race, which encompasses South Kitsap and a little bit of Bremerton. All told, there's 12 candidates running for these positions. We reached out to each of the candidates using the email addresses that they used when they registered with the state. Those that got back to us, their interviews are included here. Encourage you all to watch them, to listen to them. Hopefully they will help you make better choices, but most importantly, to encourage you all to vote. Thanks and enjoy. Today we have Michelle Caldier, who is the current Republican incumbent in position number 2, I believe.
Mhm.
And I've given all the candidates the questions in advance, but our one major rule is, as much as possible, is keep it about you. Too often people say it's not always about you. Well, this is your opportunity to talk about you today. Right now, it is about you. So I'm going to go ahead and. So first of all, welcome, Michelle. Thank you for joining us. I'm hoping that this gets a little bit more traction than a 7:30 a.m. Zoom call, and did we get the whole 6 people to show up for those? But can you tell us a little bit about yourself, maybe a little bit of background, who you are, what you've done, where you're going, what you want to be when you grow up, things like that.
Alrighty. Well, thank you so much, Matt, and I really appreciate the time that you've taken as well as the Chamber for putting this event on. I am State Representative Michelle Caldier. I am serving my 6th year in the legislature, and I'm seeking another term. Before I ran for office, I was a nursing home dentist and also taught at the University of Washington as an affiliate professor, and was also a foster mother. And I decided to run 6 years ago because I came down to Olympia over a couple bills that would have hurt my nursing home patients. I found out that one person could make a difference, which inspired me to run for office. Since I've been in the legislature, it's a tough field in Olympia, and I have been able to work across the aisle. I am one of the Republicans who has passed, I've passed close to one of the most bills from Republicans, as well as getting a lot of amendments accepted, and that's because I am, um, you know, I, I'm in good standing and have with all 4 caucuses in Olympia, and I have a lot of respect in Olympia. And now with COVID in the midst, and trying to figure out what we're going to do in order to balance our budget, I believe that my expertise is a nursing home dentist as well as a professor and a mom, is needed now more than ever to help not only fix our budget, but figuring out how to turn our state around. So I am very grateful for being here, and I look forward to the questions that you have.
Outstanding. Well, as you can imagine, and you alluded to it, COVID-19 is a huge issue at every level of our lives, whether it's your home life. My wife and daughter work in hospitals, or even on the federal and international and a global level. So a lot of our questions will kind of focus around that. The first one is that these distressing times have caused many problems across our state. How would you propose to tackle the large budget shortfall predicted to hit the state?
Well, thank you for that question. 2 years ago, the budget that we had is similar to the budget that we are having to deal with now. Just a little bit of history, that 2 years ago, that Democrats gained close to what was a supermajority in both the House and the Senate, and they passed the most historic tax increases in our state. So the $8.8 billion revenue shortfall, one of the things that we could do is look at some of the new programs that were implemented with these tax increases and pause them until we have the funding to pay for them. That's number one. Number two is that we need to get our economy back on track. We need to get people back to work. The more people who are working, they can contribute to our economy, and therefore we will also reduce caseloads, because right now, since there are so many people who are out of work and also having problems with our employment security department, we have greater caseloads that are on TANF or food stamps, things like that. And so that will be the other piece of the puzzle, is getting that turned back around. The hard part is that we only have $4.5 billion that that's the shortfall for the 2021 year, and we are this far into 2020. So we need to go back to special session in order to fix the problems that we have, so we can put a pause on some of the spending and hopefully make it so that the $4.5 billion will not be as painful if we just focus on that shortfall in 2021.
So I'm going to take the questions a little out of order because you did talk in the last little section there about economic recovery and the role that government plays. And so, so the next question is, what role should the government play in the economic recovery after COVID-19?
Well, thank you for that question. So I believe that the government actually plays a huge role in terms of, right now we have seen what the government has done in terms of having closures throughout our state. Some of them, some businesses have not been treated as fairly as others. And, the other piece is that right now, the governor's mask mandate, it basically puts the enforcement mechanism on businesses and business owners. And I don't think that that's fair. I think that we should be doing everything we can. I think COVID is going to be here for a long time. We cannot shut down our economy and our state forever. I think that we need to have provisions in place to protect folks that are most vulnerable and more susceptible at getting COVID. But at the same time, we need to take this as a whole. And, I think that we need to help figure out how businesses can reopen and without having a spread of the disease, as well as, not requiring businesses to be the enforcement for any rules that the government puts on the public. I don't think that that's a fair thing for business owners to do. That's not their responsibility. So, those are the pieces that we need to work on, and also to help stimulate the economy by, making sure that we can get businesses to stay afloat during this difficult time. And hopefully be able to be whole after this whole thing is done.
All right, thank you for that. Next question is and you alluded to it, new spending and things like that. So, this question is, what is the best way to control expenses at the state level? And then, of course, the magic question is, do we really need more taxes?
Well, so here's the thing, is that we just passed the most historic tax increases. And, one of those tax increases was for South Kitsap, that we just saw $1 per thousand assessed value property tax increase without a vote of the people. I think that's wrong. And I was heavily opposed to that. Any tax increases that are being proposed, because there's quite a few that are being proposed right now, any one of those has other consequences. So, for example, increasing property taxes. We have a lot of seniors who are here in South Kitsap, and they're getting priced out of their home. They cannot afford these property tax increases. So another one is there's a proposal put forward to do a head tax on businesses. Well, the Employment Security Department just said that because of all the payments that we've put to employees for the unemployment claims, they're estimating $1,000 per employee per year already. So businesses are already going to have to look at these additional costs. They can't afford to have more tax increases. And I think the hard part is, when I was younger, you know, I was an employee at Kentucky Fried Chicken, and I didn't understand how businesses worked. And it wasn't until I became a business owner myself where I understood what the other side was thinking in terms of, all of the expenses that you have to pay and how much taxes that you are already paying. And I think that that's the hard part, is that there's a lot of people in Olympia who've always signed, the back of the check, and they've never signed the front of the check. And I will tell you that when I was in my 20s and working at Kentucky Fried Chicken, or a teenager working at Kentucky Fried Chicken, I used to have a very different philosophy as to how life worked. And it wasn't until I became a business owner and started paying taxes myself where I realized that money does not fall from the sky, and that these people who are running these businesses, that a lot of them are struggling right now. And we've seen in Port Orchard how many businesses have already had to close. And, when July 25th happens and the federal pandemic unemployment goes away, and we have a surge of people who are now looking for work, and there's not going to be very many jobs available for them, I'm really worried with how that's going to affect our state's economy. We need to make sure that small businesses can thrive in this environment, and some can. Some are more easily adaptable, but we've seen with other, certain industries, such as the restaurant industry, you know, they can't sit on their couch and serve you food. That they're heavily hurt by COVID. And we need to figure out what we can do so that those industries that are heavily being affected can get through this and be sustainable.
Thank you. Some tough decisions coming up ahead.
Mhm.
And so I don't know, I don't want to say on a lighter note, but specifically, how do you feel that you can best support the small businesses in Kitsap County? And I say it's not that much lighter, but it's a question that people are looking at. I mean, we got a bunch of candidates, and so what can you do for the businesses of South Kitsap?
So, so there's a couple things. One is in the legislature that, what we need to do is we need to look at our economy across the state and figuring out what we can do to help the industries that are being heavily harmed, and what we can do so that they can hopefully reopen. The other piece is that I think that with the mask mandate, that we should not put that burden onto businesses. That's not a fair thing to place on them. I think it's fair to say that they should have signs available, that they should have, disposable menus, that they should be wiping certain things down. But, in certain areas of our state, that they don't have a COVID problem, that there's, I think, 6 counties where they've only had 10 cases or less. So in those counties, there is a large number of people who, are simply refusing to wear masks. And to say that if Mama Bear goes out to Safeway, that she should be put in jail for 90 days for not wearing a mask, that's a lot of pressure that's put on to the business uh, and for those employees. And it puts those employees into a tough spot because it's a very confrontational spot every single time someone enters the business. And to be threatened that that business, if someone enters without a mask, um, that they could be heavily fined, that's not fair either, because a lot of people are in our community are very strong-willed, and you know, I'm sorry, but I really feel for the employees and for the business. So the other thing that we should do is have incentives available for the businesses where they've had to adjust, and maybe helping out with some of the costs in terms of you know, having PPE increase PPE cost, or increase cost for telecommuting, things like that, for internet, and figuring out what we can do to help those businesses individually.
All right, thank you for that. Yeah, you know, something that I've been harping on and um, is don't take it out on the business owner. You know, the
Right.
business owner is just trying to make a living still. You know, a business owner's dumped their life savings, they took their second mortgage, they cashed in their retirement to open their business, and tempers flare. Don't take it out on the business owner or the 19-year-old sales clerk when they try to enforce the mask mandate. So
Yeah.
that's an unfortunate situation to place them all in. Um, so the last
Ye-
question I have for you, and then you know you can kind of wrap things up too, is you know, really simply, what makes you think you're the best person to represent the residents, the citizens of the 26th district, and specifically South Kitsap?
All righty. Well, I live here in South Kitsap. I live in Port Orchard here. And I believe that I'm the best candidate because my background is a nursing home dentist. I'm one of the few people in Olympia who actually has an expertise in infection control, and has worked in the healthcare field, and especially with that nursing home population, because they are the most heavily hit. Um, in addition, you know, I also serve on, so I serve on healthcare committee, education, and appropriations, which is the budget committee. So for education, one of the other key things that we're going to be looking at is what do we do with our children, and making sure that we can, you know, figure out how we can get kids back on a routine. Some of the proposals that the office, you know, the superintendent of public instruction has put forward and the governor has put forward are not realistic. And, you know, I think that we can, uh, I would be integral in helping make it so that we would have a good plan moving forward. In addition, the other piece is I serve on appropriations committee, and that's with the budget. So I'm very familiar with how the budget works in our state. I have a great background on that, and figuring out what we can do to preserve the essential services for the people who need it the most. Um, I believe that we do have a obligation to take care of people who are developmentally disabled, as well as our nursing home folks and our most vulnerable, and to make sure that we are preserving those services without increasing taxes, and understanding, you know, me as a former small business owner, understanding what the businesses are going through and how we can turn our state back around. Um, so when I first came into Olympia, you know, every year that they had all these tax proposals, but the nice thing is that because we allowed our economy to grow, we continually had more revenue, and we did not need to increase taxes. Um, you know, if taxes are increased and more burdens are placed on business owners, um, I'm afraid that we won't be able to get out of this rut that we're in. I think that we are at a critical time where we can turn our state around. And, you know, I'd be honored to serve another term and be integral to helping our state and helping South Kitsap.
All right, thank you. So, Michelle, what if somebody wants to know more? Is there, you have a website, you know, your home phone number, you know, what's the best way would you recommend for people to get a hold of you if they have any questions?
So you laugh about the home phone number, but actually I put my cell phone number in the voter's pamphlet. I am the one who answers that phone. It's 360-981-8683. You know, and people are more than welcome to reach out to me. I'm happy to answer any questions that they have. They can email me as well at michellecaldier.com. I've got 2 L's because that's the right way to spell it. And my last name is Caldier. I also have a website as well. It's michellecaldier.com. And just, you know, I am one of the people that, you know, I believe in being accessible to everybody, regardless of where they stand on the political spectrum. And I have an open door. I believe in listening to everybody from every background, and I encourage you know, anybody to give me a call if they ever have any questions. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Michelle. Thank you for joining us. And we've got, I don't know, a little less than 2 weeks away from the election from when we're doing this. And so I would encourage everybody to watch, well, obviously, if you've made it this far, you've watched this video, but we do have other videos from other candidates. PortOrchard.com is our website. Stop by, check those out. Encourage everybody to vote. The silent majority is critical. The vocal minority, the vocal majority, everybody's vote counts. Please go out there and vote. Watch this video series. And Michelle, thank you very much for coming out with us today. And you have a great day, and good luck.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Matt. I really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Bet.